Welcome back to the Ponca City Monthly Podcast. I'm Andy, your host, and today I've got Angela Rickman and Derion Schieber, and they are here with the Ponca City Leadership Group and the Ponca Passport. How are you all doing today?
Oh, we're great.
Doing awesome.
We're so excited to talk to you about it.
Awesome. There's been so much I've seen so much on your Facebook. You guys do such an awesome job with that, about all the stuff that's going on. So I'm really excited to get into it. So let's first meet you guys a little bit. I mean, you guys are pretty involved in the community, so everybody knows who you are. But let's hope so. Let's just dive in a little bit. Angela, tell us, you're on like every other board, right?
Every other board, yeah, sure. It feels like that sometimes, right?
I see it at almost all the events, and you're always working. So how many boards do you sit on?
Officially, I'm just on two right now.
Okay.
So
you volunteer a lot.
I like supporting other organizations, so.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And Derion?
Oh, I got my hands in about everything around here, and I love it that way. But so I serve on the Ponca City Main Street board, super close to my heart. And then I also serve on the OSU K County alumni board, which gives students scholarships that are OSU bound. And then, of course, we're in leadership. And then I own 2 small businesses here in town that are super close to my heart. So hopefully you've seen me around multiple places. But
Absolutely. How did you all get involved with leadership? Because you have to apply for it. It's not something that you just get selected for. So how did you first dive into saying, hey, I want to apply for this?
Yeah. Well, for me, a lot of people have thought that I have been part of leadership. They're like, and I just hadn't, because I'd been so involved with one of my other boards, which is Rotary, which I'm very passionate about, and just really felt it was an opportunity to. My husband was in leadership last year. Shared all these like awesome things. And, I felt it was really time for me to step back and make sure that I took time to focus really on, leadership here, specifically in Ponca. So, and you can also nominate people, and I plan on nominating some people next year as well. So, and so we did have some friends nominate me as well, and decided to move forward, and I'm really happy I did.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. How about for you?
yeah, so I'm not originally from Ponca. So I'm from Dallas.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm a big city gal, moved to a small town, married a farmer. It's a Cinderella story in itself. But I really knew a lot of people that did leadership. And for me, wanting to kind of create a name for myself here, but also learn about the amazing culture here and get involved in a different level, I see myself serving in different aspects of Ponca City. I have a really big passion for Ponca now. Kids here and my husband's here, and so I had a couple friends do leadership, and they all said, like, Derion, this is for you. I love learning, I love being connected, and learning how the wheels turn for our community. And so leadership was that for me, and so luckily I got nominated. Last year I applied too and didn't get chosen, so this is another reason why I applied again and then did get chosen. So anyone out there, if you didn't get chosen and you want to do it again, reapply. This year in particular, I think we had over 50 applicants, and so they were only able to choose half. And so they're very not particular, I wouldn't say, but they're very strategic with their class, and they want to make sure all the personalities fit, and they want different backgrounds. And so it's definitely creating this puzzle that works. And so definitely reapply if you've never applied before, or doing it again, because I am one of those people that didn't get it in the first round. I'm really glad I didn't, because that was a tough year for me, but here I am. So
Nice. So as we were just talking before you got here, graduation is just around the corner. So now that you're at sort of the end of this journey, what are your retrospects? What would you have done differently, or what would you recommend to somebody maybe coming in for the first time?
I don't think I would have done anything differently. I would just recommend anyone that's coming into it, just, give it your all. I mean, really participate and, get to know people. I mean, I think that's one of the best things is just being able to network, getting to know people. Like, I knew of Derion. I think I've been to the Harvest Hall before, but I didn't know her before this. So that's really awesome. Getting to know people that you can hey, I can go to if I need X, Y, Z. I know, she's an expert at this, or he does this. I have contacts at, maybe the city or wherever it may be. And I think that is probably the most invaluable part. So just really, if you're going to do it, just dive right in and do it completely.
Yeah. Derion?
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with Angela. I think it's very, you give what you take out of it, and really, like, you're committing to this, and so it's really important to take the time and the effort, that if you're wanting to do leadership, to really commit, and you're learning people from all different lives and backgrounds and things like that, and that's what's super great. Like, I would have probably never have met half the people in my leadership class if it wasn't for this class, and now I have connections everywhere, and really know that it's an honor to be in leadership. And now I think Kelsey may have said it, or one of our leadership, but you hear it on the community watch page, they need to do this, they need to do that, and they need to do this. Well, we're they now. And so we hold that responsibility. And so we're they. And so, if you're doing leadership, just know that you hold this other role and not power, but hold this role and responsibility to be a leader of Ponca City.
And we learned from Spider-Man that with great responsibility or great power comes great responsibility.
100%. I like it. 100%.
Absolutely. So every year the leadership group does a project. And so how did you all come up with this year's project? Like what was the inspiration for it?
You know what? I honestly think the inspiration was that we wanted to do everything. So the very first session we went to, one of the things we were like, oh, we got to do something about voting. And then we're like, oh, well, maybe that can't be the only project. And then we learned something else at the next session about nonprofits, like, oh, we want to help a nonprofit. And we couldn't decide on, I think, one specific thing because we saw all of these things that needed help. And so in a sense, this was our way of doing everything, right? Because the passport has a lot of different categories where it highlights some, organizations like Ponca Playhouse or the Poncan that have been here and that we should be so proud that we have. It highlights nonprofits and gives people, understand that it's important to volunteer or to donate to those organizations or chamber investors. So I think it was just a culmination of not being able to decide, and that was it.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think the biggest thing too is going through leadership, we get to see all of these amazing things, things that we would have probably not, like Standing Bear, things getting us out of our comfort zone to go see these different great gyms that we have in Ponca City. And when you start getting out and start exploring Ponca City, you start to appreciate it so much more. And then also you get to see the nonprofits, you get to see the funding issues that we face every day. And so Ponca Passport gives just a little glimpse of all of the really great things we have in Ponca City, but it gives them an opportunity to get involved too. They say, hey, I really like Mara. Oh, wow. There's a foods insecurity here, or the Ponca they do all, I didn't know that they have these movies. So it's getting people out in the public to explore these things, but also make them Ponca proud, and then also hope to get them involved as well, creating different leaders. Because we had many different projects. I think we wanted to create like a mini leadership class. We wanted to do the Ponca Passport, and then we wanted to create like this, don't steal our ideas, other classes, but like not a Special Olympics, but like an Olympics, maybe like all these sponsorships or an event. So, but for us, back to Angela's thing, it was really just we wanted to do a little bit of everything. And so this was our little bit of everything.
Awesome. How did you, as you were thinking about doing a little bit of everything, how did you narrow it down and say, okay, these are the categories we're going to pick, and these are the businesses and people that are going to be involved?
So I think one of the things that we did initially, to me, that I think was smart, was we knew that like if you have the entire group like trying to decide, it's going to be pretty hard. You've got 24 people like wanting to do different things. So we broke up into committees. And so we had a design and marketing committee, we had a location and category committee, and then we had a prize and recognition committee. So the locations and category committee have each had about 7 to 8 people on them. And they came up with categories and then what organizations that we wanted to highlight. And then we're also responsible for reaching out to those organizations to see if they wanted to participate. And so that was really helpful for us. And I think it's still helpful in some of the things that we're still working on, to have groups of people with different expertise being able to help and work in those capacities.
Yeah, and there's certain categories, right? Like you think of Ponca, and we have a great recreation program, and then we have all of these nonprofit. We kind of centered it not around like the leadership days we did, but we tried to split it up as best we can. We have a great nonprofit program. We have a great rec. We have a huge health and wellness. We have a bunch of trails, and so we tried to really incorporate what all of Ponca City's strengths are and just narrow it down. But also keeping in mind like, hopefully this is an ongoing project. This isn't just a one-year thing. So we wanted to keep it open. We wanted to keep it flexible for anyone else to hopefully take it over to change out the 5 different things that we had under health and wellness. Because there is a million things. There's a million events. So we wanted to make it very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like fluid, and they can change it every year. We want to put everything in there at once. We wanted to keep it open for maybe for future years.
Yeah, because I think that something that Kelsey and I talked about earlier this week in our podcast was that, projects like this, like the father and daughter dance was a project, and things like this can really take legs and become part of our city culture. So I think that's really amazing about what you guys are starting with this. What for you, you talked about this briefly, but the gems. What for you was the biggest hidden gem that for you was like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that? Angela?
I'll go back to my answer on Ponca Playhouse when they talked about the arts specifically in Ponca. That it has been one of the longest running like live playhouses in the state, like 60 years, 60 seasons running. That's amazing. If you think about our small town has something the equivalent that Oklahoma City or Tulsa has right here. You don't have to go out of town. And I, took my own advice. I got a passport and went and saw, a play recently as well. It was awesome. It was so cool. And we've just got some amazing talent in this community that I just hadn't stopped to, appreciate before, going through leadership and deciding, hey, I'm going to go check that out.
Yeah, for sure.
She took mine, but
did I?
With small kids, yeah. I didn't know the Ponca Playhouse was there. I knew a little bit about it, but all of what they do. But I won't steal that one. Okay. I'll do a different one.
It's a good one, though.
It is an amazing one because I have small kids. I have an almost 5-year-old, and so I was thinking about getting her involved because she's very she loves to sing and things. So that's great. But a lot of the nonprofit day was so impactful for me. The amount of need we have in our community and the amount of nonprofits we have that serve are incredible for the size of our community. And there's a need, and they need volunteers, and it's just a great way to get involved. And I had no idea the amount of nonprofits we have that serve different things. That is super important. And we need it. We need it for our community. And so that was the biggest gem. Get out and really support our community in the nonprofits because they need your help. They really do.
Absolutely. So it's been out now. It wraps up in July, correct? It wraps up in July, so it's been out. So it's kind of getting toward the end of, or the middle. We'll say middle. It's the middle. So what is the biggest feedback that you've gotten about what do people think?
So for me, the biggest surprise was the school district that I think Peckham, cool. Right?
Yes, you're right.
Peckham just came with their, what's the proper class?
They called it GT. I don't know what that stands for on the page.
I know, but there's a proper gifted and talented.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. Gifted and talented class came and did it. Their whole class, one day, filled out the passport. I had when we envisioned this we didn't even think that would be a possibility. Mm-hmm. And so for us, that was not really feedback, but something really, really cool that our project had touched from someone in Peckham. So we're, not reaching just Ponca City, we're reaching the region. And that's something I never really had thought about. But getting those kids to be involved in Ponca was big for me and really surprising.
Yeah, I think so too. I haven't heard nothing but positive feedback. Anywhere that we've talked to, we've gone to a few different places, done pop-ups and different things to, spread the word. And I think people are always excited about it. And I think even people that, lived in Ponca City for a long time were excited to go back and kind of rediscover, a location with a new fresh set of eyes as well too. So I think very positive feedback all around.
And I will say, the biggest thing is the timeline may seem a little short to July. We are on a tight timeline because we have to be done by a certain time, but in hopes the next few years, it will be a year-long passport, so you have a little bit more time to complete it. That's our hope anyway, but the tight timeline makes it a little bit difficult, but we're excited for this. It's a great summer project. We'll be in the United Way summer to-do list.
Summer guide, yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things in the passport too, I will say, we are going to collect feedback. So when they turn in their passport on the back page, which I think Derion has a copy here, so they just turn in the back page. They don't turn in the whole thing, but we do ask for feedback from the participants, and we do hope to collect that, and so we can improve, or help provide that feedback wherever it gets carried on. So, just again, we ask them, did you visit somewhere new because of the passport? If so, where? What was your favorite location visited and why? And how did the passport change the way you view Ponca City? So just really trying to get some feedback about the project as well. So we hope to collect some really good data.
Yeah, definitely so. And I think that's awesome. So I'm sorry, what was the last entry on that?
How did the passport change the way you view Ponca City?
Right. So how did it change the way that you all view Ponca City?
I think, we talked about it a little bit from the leadership perspective, right? So, I grew up in Ponca City all my life. But there were people in our class like Derion that maybe had just moved here or been here for a little bit that weren't from Ponca City. I think we all learned something. And I think that was the neat piece about it is, yes, maybe I knew some aspects of, some of the nonprofits that I've worked for, but I maybe didn't know all of the individuals and really seeing the passion behind all of the leadership in our community. So every single day, whether it was when we visited the schools, we visited the city, the nonprofits, the leadership in Ponca City, the people that volunteer and do things for the community are just amazing. There's just so much to be said about the people that put their heart and soul and everything they do to make the community better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have, two folds to that. I again, not being from Ponca, it was really hard for me to move from Dallas, Texas to Ponca City, very small town. And I didn't know where I fit, and so, not that I was resentful, but I was like, I don't know what I can do, in this town. And going through leadership, man, just like she said, everyone's so proud to serve this community and the opportunity is there. Someone from my hometown was like, man, you have businesses, you own your own business in Ponca City. How hard is that? And I'm like, yes, it's hard, but like Ponca City makes it easy for that. Like opportunity is endless here. And it just made me even more proud going through leadership, creating this passport, even more proud to live here and serve here. And that's what we hope Ponca City Passport will do. You will be more proud to live here and appreciate it because we sure do. Have a lot to be thankful for here.
Absolutely. So you two wrote the article that's actually in the magazine that came out this week. So in it, you mentioned about all the different volunteers and behind the scenes people that went into bringing this together. Do you want to mention any of those people?
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. It was a lot of our, with any, you go back to college and, you do class projects and you're going to have the people that really like those strong personalities that are type A, like Angela, and we need those type A. I'm type B. I'm very much a visionary and like, I have all these great ideas, but like, I'm not like, I struggle at executing. Where Angela, she's like organized, she's bum. And so we definitely had different personalities and different strengths. And so splitting up to committees definitely really helped that. But pretty much our whole leadership class, and I wish I had like a list of all of them, but like
they're in the magazine.
I could pull up the magazine. But
Someone put them in the magazine.
Yes.
Like, where is it? But like Kaylee Anderson, Angela, Kaylee Anderson. If you don't know Kaylee Anderson, I'm gonna put her on the spot, but she's an amazing photographer. She's amazing design. Yeah. And so she is the one that took this picture. She did a lot of our pictures, but she did a lot of the design of the passport. Now we all had feedback on it, but Kaylee definitely forefronted what the design looks like. Angela created the cover of it. And then of course, all of our other leadership classmates, I have it right here, helped pull it all together. Paige helped with the magnet, because we have a magnet. And then Sam reached out to other communities. And pretty much, and Jake was a part of our design committee, but everyone had a touch in it. Now you had a lot more people had more hands on it just because we have more strong personalities, and that was okay. Some people just wanted to be on the back burner, which is totally okay. But pretty much all of us pulled our weight. And now more than ever, our class will need to promote and help support this going forward, on social media, because that's the biggest point. We all have different audiences.
Yeah, I think so. And then I think our class, did a really good job. We had committee chairs and everybody helped in their own way. So that was really great. But beyond that too, I think we're really proud that we use local Ponca City businesses as well to print. So A+ printing, Chad just did an amazing job. We probably send a bunch of edits to him. He's probably tired of us, quit sending. We promise this is the final version, right? He did an amazing job working for us, creating mock-ups, things like that. So these things can be done in Ponca City. You don't have to go somewhere else to get them. We got the magnets from A+, and then helped us with the self-inking stamps. They came up with a solution. We were kind of going to do, Derion had worked with Brooke and we were going to get stamp pads and they were really expensive and why not just do it all in one? We're I
didn't see that.
I didn't know. So we're really proud that we were able to use local businesses. And then also we had several sponsors, which are on the back of the passport as well too. So we were able to provide this free because some people have asked how much does this cost? I'm it doesn't cost anything. And it also didn't cost anything to any of the locations that were stamped. This is 100% free to participate in and to also, to have the passport.
Yeah, I think this is an important topic to talk about, Angela, because I think going into this, we had discussions of with every leadership project, do you raise money to do X, Y, Z? And so for us, we wanted, from the get-go, we honestly wanted to make it free. Sam was big on this, making it accessible to everyone, the kids, everyone. Some people don't have the means to pay $5 or $1. So we didn't want any sort of barrier with this. We wanted to make it free. And how did we do that? That was hard. But we did do it. And we're so thankful that we're able to allow it to be a free resource for anyone that wants to do it. There is no financial barrier besides some of the locations you might have to pay for, but some of these are free to go to. You just have to go to them. And again, we really wanted to promote local businesses. Of course, this is a chamber leadership class. The chambers help support it. So we only could include chamber businesses a part of this. But one thing that has been brought to our attention, people are how do I get on the passport? What businesses are reaching? How do I become a part of this? And so we've helped the chamber hopefully with that aspect of it. But yes, it was a huge mission of ours from the get-go to make this free. And without the sponsors, Combat Syndicate, Dirty and Driven, Evans and Associates, First National Bank, Harvest Hall, the Farmhouse Kids, Ponca City Tourism was big on this project because this is a tour, this is strictly somewhat tourism. And so we were hoping to really partner up with them, use some of their funds that they receive to really help push this forward because the Marlin Mansion, we have amazing tourism aspects to it. And then RCB, the Lost Gent Barbershop, and then of course, Visit Ponca City, the tourism. So without them, it couldn't have been free.
Yeah, definitely so. Angela's been very quiet about the Lost Gents Barbershop, but that's her shop. I'll do a plug for you.
Thank you. Go see my husband.
Yes, definitely so. So tell me, when you were thinking about all the things that you hope this becomes long term, where do you honestly see this going? Where do you think the next step is for the passport?
I mean, I see it, becoming, an annual event Derion was talking about where maybe it doesn't have to be limited by, a time frame. And, people can participate in, year round or even, especially visitors to our community, they're coming in and, want something to do. Maybe they want kind of a day trip, right? And they have these things on the list to be able to do. I think that could be really cool as well to continue to promote tourism, not only from, our own citizens, but anyone coming from out of town. So I think there's lots of opportunity to highlight other organizations that we just couldn't because of space put in here, especially some of the nonprofits that we have. And I really hope that it's something that will continue.
Yeah, for me, I have this vision of like 10 years from now. I have this like lady has all 10 magnets from the last 10 years. Like that's what I envision, right? And like she did it he or she did it every year, and she has a whole refrigerator full of these. Like that's what I hope this turns into. And I also hope, just like the Peckham High School, or that we get the youth involved. I think has a huge heart for the youth, and she's created this new like leadership with her mayor program. And I really hope the youth can get appreciate it, start getting involved in our community, and this is an easy way to do that, or a starting point of how to do that. Because as we went through leadership, there's a lot of people that are going to retire soon with a wealth of knowledge, and it's somewhat scary. Leaders, and we need young, fresh eyes to come in. And so I hope that that's what this is. I hope we have the lady that has all 10 magnets for the last 10 years, and we have travelers from Wisconsin that come in for the weekend and complete it all. Like that's our vision. We hope that it lasts for a while.
Absolutely. And I think it will. Because, I think that even though there's a timeline on it, that's just the timeline to get the prize.
Yes.
Yeah. Those businesses aren't going away. They're not going to
Yes.
They're not closing.
And that is one thing that is in the back of the passport too, that it says your adventure doesn't have to stop here, right? Continue to explore and to do that. And I think, it could absolutely be awesome. And plus, I know, Derion, if we did it later in the year, so one of the prizes we did think about was an ornament, a Ponca City ornament, but it just didn't work out with timeline, in the middle of the spring or whatever. She really wanted an ornament, but maybe if it continues on, you can have a Ponca City ornament, which would be pretty cool too, though.
Yeah, my heart was broken when we did not choose the Christmas ornament to be like the nostalgia of this. But hey, a magnet works too, and of course funding. You're always capped with funding, but
I mean, there could be a winter version.
You
of
could
it.
imagine a Christmas tree with all of that.
That's right.
That would be so
We
cool.
could still do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So where are all the places that we can get the Ponca passport? Is there is there a list that we can find, or?
So it's super simple. It is either at the Ponca City Library or the Ponca City Chamber of Commerce. So we chose those two locations, one, so that it's just ease of access in terms of time. So the chamber is really Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, but the library is open into the evenings and onto the weekends. We did give a few starter passports out to all of the stamped locations. So, and we'll be checking in with those organizations to see if maybe they need additional passports and things like that. But just either one of those locations, you can pick up the passport.
Nice. And so the process is you pick up the passport, you start filling it out, and then you turn it in. We have all the instructions in the magazine, but go ahead and tell us a little bit.
Yeah, and even in the book, so the first page talks about this, and so you'll pick up the passport from the chamber or the library, and then you'll visit all of the categories. We have an instruction list, so each category you'll collect 2 stamps from those stamp locations, and then of course there's some places like Wentz Golf Course or like Lake Park or things like that you can't get a stamp from. And so you just take a photo, take a selfie, or just take a photo where you're at and then tag us and post it on Facebook. And then once you're done completing it all of this wonderful pages, you'll turn it into the chamber office, and you can keep the booklet. You just need to tear out the back page and submit it to them by filling out this list. And then they'll put you in a drawing for at the end of the grand prize. We'll have prizes, it's just based off donation and things like that. So whether we give out multiple prizes, or one big prize would still come up in the air, but, we are thankful for that. We have, prizes coming in daily. And so, you'll just tear it out and then you'll submit it to the chamber office, and then you'll get your cool magnet. And chance to win some cool prizes.
So everybody that submits gets a magnet until it runs out. Yeah. Till it runs out. And then after that, then you're up for the big prize. So you don't know what the prizes are yet. That was one of the questions I was going to ask.
I don't know what some of the prizes are. So we're going to have a couple of different grand prizes, but we've gotten some awesome to OSU donated from First National Bank, but we also have things like tickets to the 101 rodeo. We also have chamber bucks as well. A lot of businesses and organizations have reached out and wanted to provide gift certificates to their location. So there's a pretty long list, and we'll be sharing that actually pretty soon on our Facebook page to get people excited about that. But businesses have really done a good job of like saying, hey, I want to support this and I'll give you some type of donation for it.
Yeah.
Nice. That's fantastic. And the Facebook page is Ponca Passport, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So it's super easy to find. And yeah, I think everybody should grab a passport and do this. And like I said, even if it runs out of time, it's still a great way to learn about our city and learn about all the fun things to do. Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for coming in and chatting with us and telling us about leadership and the Ponca Passport.